Top 10 IITs in India. Without a question, the Indian Institutes of Technology, or the IITs, are the crown jewels of Indian higher education. They are internationally renowned for the quality of academics and diversity of their research, which is nurtured with a faculty of international repute, a stellar student community, and a global alumni network. The IITs captivate the brilliant young minds from a plethora of backgrounds, granting them a celestial educational experience. In this video, we're looking at the top 10 Indian Institutes of Technology in India for the year 2021. This year witnessed phenomenal growth, with 17 IITs being ranked in the NIRF table among 23 IITs. Are you thrilled to analyze the top 10 spots among these elite IITs for 2021? Let's unearth the best of the IITs. IIT Indore occupies the 10th spot among the top-notch IITs. The approved intake for IIT Indore this year is 294 UG students and 188 PG students, while in 2020 there were 275 UG students and 168 PG students. And the year 2019 had only 260 UG students. This constitutes an overall student strength of 1,178 students across all years. The UG program has an adequate 87.6% of graduates this year, while 2020 outlined an augmented graduation percentage of 91.89% and 2019 had a striking 94.87% of graduates. Now let's dive into the intriguing placement percentage, which this year was a mere 65.7%, while 2020 viewed a fine placement percentage of 85.06% and a reasonable 79.17% of students were placed in 2019. The median salary conferred on students was a commendable 16.5 LPA this year, while a figure of 21.21% higher than the median salary of 13 LPA in 2020 was the case, and 2019 had a median salary that had reduced further by 23.08%. IIT Indore had spent over 21 crores in 2021 as its annual capital expenditure. 2020 had witnessed a boost in funds with 32.26%, amounting to 31 crores, and 2019 had an annual capital expenditure of 20.16 crores. The operational expenditure for IIT Indore was 96.16 crores in 2021, while 2020 utilized 84 crores as operational expenses, and in 2019 it was 76 crores. Now let's look at the various NIRF parameters. For teaching, learning and resources, IIT Indore has scored 76.22%, 55.89% in research and professional practice, 71.57% in graduation outcomes, 55.76% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 30.29% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 62.56%, ranking number 13 on the NIRF table. Looking across the years, IIT Indore has stepped down in the NIRF rankings from the previous 10th rank. At number 9, we have IIT Indian School of Mines. The approved intake at IIT Dhanbad is 869 students for a UG 4-year program, 83 students for a UG 5-year program, and 701 students for the PG program for the year 2021. At the same time, 2020 observed 911 UG students for the 4-year program, 96 students for the UG 5-year program, and 944 students for the PG program. In 2019, it was 824 students for the UG 4-year program, 88 students for the UG 5-year program, and no students for the PG program. The institution houses a total of 4,651 students across all years in various engineering programs. A striking attribute of IIT Dhanbad is its graduation percentage of 93.36% in 2021, a phenomenal 99.36% in 2020, and a massive 99.04% in 2019. The placement percentage depicts 73.46% this year, an increased 82.42% in 2020, and an appreciable 81.75% in 2019. The median salary has been a fine 7.1 lakh per annum in 2019. 2020 saw an even higher 8.4 lakh per annum, while 2021 observed the highest 11 lakh per annum. Over 33 crores was spent as IIT Dhanbad's annual capital expenditure in 2021. However, 2020 observed an annual capital expenditure of 22 crores, while 2019 had an increase of 45% or 40 crores in funds. The operational expenditure over the years is admirable, with 257 crores in 2021. 2020 witnessed a similar 242 crores and one that decreased by 9.5% or 219 crores in 2019. Now let us cover IIT Dhanbad's NIRF score in different parameters. In teaching, learning and resources, the institution has scored 69.29%. In research and professional practices, the score is 65.53%. Graduation outcome has scored 73.12%, while outreach and inclusivity has scored 54.62%. Ultimately, public perception has a score of 35.36%. This confers on the institution an overall score of 64.07% and the 11th rank in the NIRF rankings. IIT Hyderabad takes the 8th place among the top 10 IITs. IIT Hyderabad intakes 317 UG students, 186 PG students for the 2-year program, and 52 PG students for the 3-year program. All of this year. 2020 saw a similar number of 285 UG students and 181 PG students for the 2-year program, while there were 41 PG students for the 3-year program. 2019 had a constant 285 UG students and 27 PG students for the 3-year program. IIT Hyderabad has a total student strength of 1,576 students across all years. The UG program had a de-escalation in graduation percentage from 90.5% of students having graduated this year, while 2020 observed a graduation percentage of 94.09% and 2019 had 94.23% of students graduating within the minimum stipulated time. What about the placement percentage this year, which was a fine 82.29%? 2020 also witnessed a similar percentage of 82.12%, and 2019 had a greater number of students placed, which was 83.94%. Now let's unfold the median salary offered at IIT Hyderabad, which is a striking 17 lakh per annum this year. This figure is 29.41% loftier than 2020, which had a median salary of 12 lakh per annum, while 2019 had the least salary package with 10.3 lakh per annum. IIT Hyderabad has contributed over 86.9 crores as its annual capital expenditure in 2021, while in 2020 the capital expenses were reduced by 30.02%, reaching 60 crores. And 2019 viewed a greater de-escalation in expenses by 42.92%, amounting to a mere 34.25 crores. Now moving on to operational expenses for this year, which is a profound 157 crores. 2020 observed 142 crores as operational expenses, and lastly 2019 had an operational expenditure of 126 crores. Progressing into the multiple NIRF parameters, IIT Hyderabad has bagged 82.6% in teaching, learning and resources, 56.9% in research and professional practices, 72.54% in graduation outcomes, 56.58% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 66.7% in public perception. This grants IIT Hyderabad an exhaustive score of 68.69% and an NIRF ranking of number 8. Across all 3 years, IIT Hyderabad has been consistent in maintaining its rank. The next institution on the list at number 7 is IIT Guwahati. The approved intake for this year at IIT Guwahati stands at an adequate 851 for UG students and 789 for PG students. 2020 also displayed a similar figure of 747 for UG students and 633 for PG students. In 2019, it was just 690 UG students. These statistics throw light on the overall student strength at the institution, which is a substantial 4,257 engineering students across all years. This year, 93.09% of UG students graduated within the minimum stipulated time, a magnified 95.77% in 2020, and in 2019, the graduation percentage was 90.35%. Analyzing the placement percentage this year confers us with a pronounced 88.47%, while 2020 testified to a reduction in the number of students placed, which was at 83.86%. And finally, 2019 having a similar placement percentage of 83.46%. The placed students were offered a remarkable salary package of 18 lakh per annum this year. In 2020, the median salary was a commendable 15 lakh per annum, and lastly, 13.3 lakh per annum in 2019 was offered to the placed students at IIT Guwahati. IIT Guwahati has spent more than 45.2 crores as annual capital expenditure this year. In 2020, the capital expenses were slightly higher with 47 crores, and 2019 had a capital expenditure that was 23.40% minimized, amounting to 36 crores. The operational expenditure for 2021 is a phenomenal 314 crores, while 2020 and 2019 both had 261 crores as operational expenses. IIT Guwahati has scored 79.25% in teaching, learning and resources, 70.32% in research and professional practices, 84.63% in graduation outcomes, 59.83% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 60.58% in perception from the public. Combining all of these scores, IIT Guwahati gets an overall score of 73.84% and an NIRF ranking of number 7. Across all the 3 years, IIT Guwahati consistently maintains its rank. Before we proceed to the 6th premier IIT, welcome to College Suggest. All the facts mentioned in this video are directly sourced from the data submitted by the college to the NIRF for 2021's rankings. We will leave the link in the description below. Click on the subscribe button and the bell icon to receive notifications on your favorite college details, college comparisons, courses, careers, and so much more. At number 6, we have the brilliant IIT Roorkee. IIT Roorkee this year had an approved intake of 959 UG students, 707 PG students, and 145 PG integrated students. 2020 saw 879 UG students, 669 PG students, and 134 PG integrated students. And 2019 eyed an intake of 815 UG students and 130 PG integrated students. The institution comprises an overall 5,307 engineering students across all years. In the UG program, a significant 94.07% of students graduated this year. In 2020, the figure was one with close proximity at 93.75%, and in 2019, the graduation percentage was at 91.46%. The number of students placed this year at IIT Roorkee is a phenomenal 100%. In 2020, the placement percentage was no different than a stellar 100%, and in 2019, 99.83% of students were placed. The median salary this year was a smashing 17.5 lakh per annum. Last year, the salary package was 14.5 lakh per annum, and finally in 2019, the placed students were offered a median salary of 13.2 lakh per annum. The annual capital expenditure in 2021 for IIT Roorkee is a massive 114 crores. 2020 observed an increase of 26.45%, with the capital expenses amounting to 155 crores, and in 2019, the capital expenditure was at 111 crores. This year witnessed an operational expenditure of a splendid 364 crores. In 2020, the operational expenses were diminished by 24.17%, reaching 276 crores, and 258 crores were utilized as operational expenses in 2019. IIT Roorkee has scored 79.28% in teaching, learning and resources, 78.13% in research and professional practices, 90.74% in graduation outcomes, 63.36% in outreach and inclusivity, and ultimately 63.59% in perception from the public. With the aid of all of these individual scores, IIT Roorkee has attained an overall score of 78.08% and climbed up the 6th rank in the NIRF table. Across all 3 years, we testify to IIT Roorkee's consistent performance. Coming in at number 5, we have IIT Kharagpur. The institution intakes 785 UG students in their 4-year program, 1,207 students in the PG 2-year program, 15 students in the PG 3-year program, and 756 students in the PG integrated program, as well as 12 students in the PG 6-year program for the year 2021. Last year was no different, with 676 students in the UG 4-year program, 1,327 students in the PG 2-year program, 15 students in the PG 3-year program, and 664 students in the PG integrated program. Finally, 2019 had an approved intake of just 656 students in the UG 4-year program, 15 students in the PG 3-year program, and 645 students for the PG integrated program. The institution houses 8,679 students across all years. Delving into the UG program, 68.85% of students graduated this year, while 2020 viewed an appreciable 83.99%, and in 2019, the graduation percentage was at 74.1%. The number of students placed this year echoed a striking 99.28%. A fine 90.66% was the placement percentage in 2020, and ultimately in 2019, a consistent 90.72% of students were placed from IIT Kharagpur. The median salary offered to place students this year stands at a good 16 lakh per annum. 2020 had a median salary of 14.2 lakh per annum, and 2019 granted place students the luxury of 12.7 lakh per annum. The annual capital expenditure at IIT Kharagpur in 2021 was 72 crores. 2020 utilized an annual capital expenditure that escalated by 21.74%, amounting to 92 crores, and in 2019 employed 81 crores as capital expenses. The operational expenditure deployed this year was a colossal 601 crores. 2020 observed a similar figure of 564 crores as operational expenses, and 340 crores was spent in 2019. IIT Kharagpur has scored 80.51% in teaching, learning and resources, 88.59% in research and professional practices, 83.01% in graduation outcomes, 58.46% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 88.5% in perception from the public. The blend of all of these scores confers IIT Kharagpur an overall score of 82.03% and the 5th rank on the NIRF table. Across the 3 years, we can perceive IIT Kharagpur's de-escalation in ranks from the previous years. At number 4, we have the exceptional IIT Kanpur. The institution intakes 907 UG students and 999 PG students. Last year also, the improved intake was similar, with 910 UG students and 896 PG students. And in 2019, there were 827 UG students and 0 PG students. IIT Kanpur has 5,266 engineering students in total. From the UG program, a fantastic 95.52% of students graduated within the minimum stipulated time this year. In 2020, the graduation percentage was slightly higher at 95.89%. And in 2019, the number of students who graduated stood at a sensational 97.53%. Also moving on to the placement percentage of the UG program in 2021, which stood at a stellar 99.78%. Last year, the number of students placed was at 93.18%, and finally in 2019, IIT Kanpur observed a placement percentage of 88.06%. The median salary offered this year is a terrific 17 lakh per annum. In 2020, placed students were presented with 15 lakh per annum, and the median salary in 2019 was at a good 14 lakh per annum. IIT Kanpur has spent over 102 crores this year as its annual capital expenditure, while in 2020 it was at 91 crores, and in 2019 it stood at 86 crores. The operational expenditure for IIT Kanpur in 2021 was at a luxurious 693 crores, while 2020 saw a slight reduction by 9.96%, amounting to 624 crores, and in 2019, the operational expenses saw a further de-escalation of 15.54%, resulting in 527 crores. IIT Kanpur has scored 86.71% in teaching, learning and resources, 83.13% in research and professional practices, 89.79% in graduation outcomes, 55.96% in outreach and inclusivity, and lastly 87.05% in perception from the public. With all of these scores under multiple parameters, IIT Kanpur has attained an overall score of 83.22% and has bagged the 4th rank in the NIRF table. Considering all 3 years, IIT Kanpur has soared in its rank. Now we are about to unfold the most awaited moment, the ultimate revelation of the top 3 IITs of the year 2021. At number 3, we have the glorious IIT Bombay. IIT Bombay has an edge when it comes to its approved intake. 2021 observed an increase of 5.69% with 773 UG students and an escalation of 4.68% with 790 PG students. In 2019 and in 2020, we observed an intake at IIT Bombay of a consistent 729 UG students, while 753 PG seats were made available in 2020. The renowned IIT Bombay accommodates a massive 5,917 engineering students across all years. The graduation percentage of IIT Bombay is 85.61% in 2021, 92.34% in 2020, and 83.87% in 2019. IIT Bombay portrays a consistent growth in its placement percentage from 80.94% in 2019, 87.76% in 2020, and ultimately 90.14% in 2021. IIT Bombay follows a progressive growth of 10.1 lakh per annum in 2019, 11.7 lakh per annum furnished in 2020, and a much greater 13 lakh per annum in 2021. IIT Bombay noticed a massive growth in 2020, 5.2 times more than the 27 crore annual capital expenditure in 2019 of 140 crores. This year viewed an augmented 159 crores as its annual capital expenditure. The operational expenditure for IIT Bombay displayed a harmonious growth with 311 crores in 2019. This escalated at 15.25% at 367 crores in 2020 and a stellar 417 crores in 2021 as operational expenses. IIT Bombay has a score of 89.32% in teaching, learning and resources, 92.56% in research and professional practices, 79.71% in graduation outcomes, 53.68% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 92.88% in perception from the public. Regarding all of these individual scores, IIT Bombay has achieved an overall score of 85.16% and has ranked at number 3 on the NIRF table. IIT Bombay has been consistent in maintaining its rank for the past 3 years and remains to be the celebrated IIT among JEE aspirants. At the second spot, we have the illustrious IIT Delhi. IIT Delhi has an approved intake of 938 UG students in its 4-year program, 123 UG students in the 5-year program, and 1,169 PG students this year. In 2020, it was a close 798 UG students for the 4-year program, 109 UG students for the 5-year program, and 1,045 PG students. In 2019, IIT Delhi housed 749 UG students in its 4-year program, 102 students for its UG 5-year program, and no PG students. Considering all of the engineering students across every year, the overall student strength for IIT Delhi is a colossal 6,165. When we look at the UG program, 86.55% graduated within the minimum stipulated time in 2021, while in 2020 the number of students who graduated stood at 81.03%, and in 2019 the graduation percentage was at 86.17%. Now let's progress into the placement percentage this year, which was a fab 91.25%, while in 2020 the number of students placed were at an even better 92.18%, while in 2019 IIT Delhi witnessed a reduced placement percentage of 73.8%. The median salary offered to the placed students in 2021 was a fair 15.5 lakh per annum, while in 2020 it was a slightly higher 15.7 lakh per annum, and in 2019 it was 13.06 lakh per annum. Over 274 crores was spent as annual capital expenditure in 2021. Last year, the capital expenses were close enough at 272 crores, and in 2019, the capital expenditure of IIT Delhi was at 247 crores. In 2021, IIT Delhi observed an annual operational expenditure of a mammoth 664 crores. Last year, it amounted to a significant 648 crores, and in 2019, the operational expenditure saw a 37.03% reduction, resulting in 408 crores. IIT Delhi has bagged 91.76% in teaching, learning and resources, 95.82% in research and professional practices, 80.97% in graduation outcomes, 66.39% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 98.63% in public perception. Summing up all of these scores, IIT Delhi has attained an overall score of 88.96% and has been ranked at number 2 on the NIRF table. IIT Delhi across the 3 years has been consistently maintaining its rank. At number 1, we have the phenomenal IIT Madras, which proves time and time again to be the showstopper in the country. IIT Madras noticed quite an improvement this year. The year 2021 witnessed a colossal 35.96%, realizing 762 UG students in the 4-year program, 157 seats for the UG 5-year program, a 7.36% increase, reaching 435 students in the PG 2-year program and 245 students for the PG 3-year program. In 2020, the escalation was at 4.51%. with 488 students in the UG 4-year program, 358 seats for the UG 5-year program, 403 seats for the PG 2-year program, and a constant 245 seats for the PG 3-year program. Ultimately, in 2019, there were only 466 seats for the UG 2-year program, 372 seats for the UG 5-year program, and a consistent 245 seats for the PG 3-year program, all of this in IIT Madras. The institution houses an overall student strength of 5,849 engineering students for the year 2021. IIT Madras offers a graduation percentage with a steady rise from 75.74% in 2019 to 79.04% in 2020 to 80.4% in 2021. IIT Madras has an oscillating placement percentage of a stellar 100% in 2019 to 90.23% in 2020 and 86.4% in 2021. Moving on to analyzing the salary package, which is 15 lakh per annum in 2021. This interestingly depicts an increase from the earlier 13.6 lakh per annum in 2020. In 2019, we noticed a reasonable 13 lakh per annum. Being a pioneer in the research field, IIT Madras in 2019 spent a colossal 216 crores as its annual capital expenditure. This figure saw a percentage increase of 5.26% in 2020, which was 228 crores. And finally, this reached a smashing 230 crores in 2021. The operational expenses in 2019 for IIT Madras were at 661 crores. This then increased, reaching 831 crores in 2020 and a massive 976 crores in 2021. IIT Madras has scored 95.47% in teaching, learning and resources, 96.43% in research and professional practices, 81.92% in graduation outcomes, 62.44% in outreach and inclusivity, and ultimately 100% in perception from the public. With these stunning scores, IIT Madras makes an overall score of 90.19% and has been ranked at number 1 on the NIRF table. IIT Madras is consistent in maintaining its rank at the top spot across all the years. Now let's dive into a short and sweet analysis of where the colleges stand on various parameters. From the data, we can see that IIT Kharagpur intakes more students. Considering all the institutions, IIT Kharagpur has the highest overall student strength. When we look at the graduation percentage of all of the IITs, one that tops the list is IIT Kanpur with an impressive 95.52%. This depicts IIT Kanpur's excellence in churning out more brilliant graduates. Delving into placement stats, IIT Roorkee impresses us with its sensational 100% placements, highlighting the institution's efforts to place all eligible students. IIT Guwahati is the showstopper when it comes to the median salary package offered to place students with a gargantuan 18 lakh per annum, the top notch among the top 10 IITs. When it comes to capital expenses, IIT Delhi tops the list, while for operational expenses, IIT Madras is the ultimate boss. So there you have it, all the nitty-gritties about the top 10 IITs. Every IIT has an exclusivity attached to it, enabling students to embrace world-class technical education. Soon we will upload a detailed comparison review of these top institutions and other top 10 institutions in various segments in our upcoming videos. What other interesting top 10s would you like to see? Let us know in the comments section below.